welcome back to Code A. I am Wolf, and with me is Caldor. We have a sick lineup of matches today. Don't you think so, Caldor?
Yeah, definitely. Great matches today. We don't have a Zerg player. We have Protoss versus Terran and TVT, but really great players facing each other. We've seen Keen just last week, and he was dominating in Terran versus Terran. Today he is up against MMA, though, and this is going to be a really tough match in our first best of 3 today. Yeah,
Keen is a really inconsistent player, I would say, oftentimes. Like, he has to beat MMA here, who's a big, big fan favorite. I mean, everyone could talk about how Dongrygu is a fan favorite, MC is a fan favorite, but this guy, he's like the ladies' man. Every time I see him in the studio or around, there's always girls looking at him or talking about him. This is not only in Korea, but outside of Korea. He seems to be like the Nada of StarCraft II. Nada has basically retired. He's kind of disappeared for the most part, but MMA has like kind of taken his place. He's the son of Boxer. Boxer, of course, quite famous. I mean, this guy has a lot of eyes on him, but is he really still one of the best players? Other people always talk about how he's one of the best players, one of the best players. I think he has to really prove himself here because, not to say that he's disappointed me, but he has not looked his best recently.
I don't know, he just won Iron Squid, and I think he looked pretty strong, especially against Alive in the Terran versus Terran. Alive's best matchup is TVT.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I was really impressed by MMA's
Iron Squid impressed me as well, but inside of Korea, that's where he seems to be faltering a little bit. I agree, though. Outside of Korea, he is looking just as strong as usual. We're going to take a look at our results from yesterday, so we'll pop those up on the screen. There they are. 2-0 victory for Dongrygu, looking very strong against Virus. Great creep spread, great decision making. Virus having some technical problems in his second game. Genius taking out Boong Boong with sick timing attacks. Losing out in the late game, though. Symbol versus Jakji was pretty straight up. Symbol just crushed him there. And Leonok versus Alive, I cannot even describe that series. Go back and watch it.
Yeah, exactly. If you haven't watched Leonok against Alive yet, guys, you have to watch it. You will miss out. I actually read a couple of interviews with those players, and Symbol is really in a position now where he wants to go for the championship, as does Leonok. He's like, I want to be a champion. It still haunts me that I lost the final to Jakji, and even though we joke about it, I want to be the champion, and next season I will give it my best. So this is going to be really interesting. But today's matches, Keen is facing M&A, as mentioned before. We have a prime match between Creator and Maru. Ganji has to face MC today, and Happy is up against Finn.
Yep. First, we will have Keen against MMA. You know, it's time for MMA to prove himself here. Go ahead, though. I know you have some important thoughts.
Yeah, the thing that I wanted to say, do you know when I told you about the... it was an online tournament that I cast, and it's already been a while ago. I know StarCraft is something that evolves very, very fast, but Keen was facing Cold in a TVT.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
And Keen crushed him. He really crushed him. I have never seen a Terran player demolish Cold in this fashion. I don't know if it was a fluke. I don't know if Cold was really just tired, but just the builds and all the decisions that Keen made seem to be spot on. And last week we've seen Keen in really good shape, so I really want to see what he's up to today. Yeah. I think MMA is a huge favorite, even though in Korea he had not had the biggest results. You pointed it out. Outside of Korea, he did well, but this is going to be a very interesting mirror match.
You know, I feel like you're so right about Keen. It's like, if he wants to, he can pull something out of himself. He can, like, transform into another player and actually show some of the best matches the world has ever seen. But sometimes he seems to be a bit lackluster, a bit mediocre. I remember his hold in his round to get into the Code S, the very first up-and-down matches ever. He held off a 4-gate when he went for a Banshee build, barely getting a bunker up in time and holding it off. It was crazy. This is a guy who's been around a long time. He has shown incredible play. Can he take out a huge fan favorite here, MMA? We're about to find out at the GSL Code A with Caldor and Wolf.
Down on your luck and it's Monday morning. Just stuck in a cage and you can't break free.
And here we go to the bottom right of the map. We have our first player in today's Terran Mirror match. In the red color is a player. I have no idea which one it is because right now we don't have the mouse over.
It is from the team MVP.
MVP King.
You're cheating. You were listening to the green commentators.
Yeah.
For a second I was standing there, I was like, how does he know that? And then I was like, wait a second.
I also have on my screen, I have the players' names.
That's right. That's actually right.
His opponent from the Team Slayers, showing the correct color for his team. It is...
Slayers MMA.
A lot more claps for this guy. Definitely the fan favorite. I mean, always is, always will be. That's MVP Keen, though. Again.
They have pretty similar records in TVT, MMA, a lot more games than Keen, though. And, well, Keen, for example, was able to take down Thorzane as well. It was at the end of March, at the 29th, in the MSI Pro Tournament, and he took him down with a 3-0. So we just seen lately how good Thorzane actually is in this matchup when he was winning DreamHack, facing Pold in a Terra Mirror match. So I'm really, really excited about this series. This is going to be so intense, and I'm curious to see what exactly Keen has up his sleeve.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this a lot myself. No gas for MMA.
Yeah, no gas for MMA. Keen with an early gas here, and we'll see how that is going to pay off.
We will indeed. I'm thinking we're probably going to see something like a Banshee expand out of Keen. This map is not the best for Banshees because even though it looks like you can fly your Banshees around the edges of the main base, you really can't, in fact, do that. There's not enough space for the Banshee to avoid Marine fire, so if you get caught, you'll lose the Banshee for sure. It's a kind of a trick of the eye how much you can really actually hide back there. Oh, he's going to see this command center, which he'll already know about from not seeing the gases, but...
And the tournament that I mentioned, that was actually the MSI Pro Cup, and Keen did not only defeat Thorzane, he defeated also Alive with 2-0 and Pold with 2-0. He didn't lose a single map in Terran vs. Terran. And this tournament he used very aggressive builds. He always went for an early gas and tried to be aggressive about it. If he was able to do enough damage, he would just try to go for a one-base build, or if not all that, well, if he couldn't do that much damage, the economy of his opponent would just go for the second base and try to transition. But I was really impressed, and that's why I'm so looking forward to this.
I am too, man. I think we're going to see a Banshee expand out of Keen. He's making a reactor, though, now on his barracks. Maybe Marine Tank Banshee pressure into an expand. There's a lot of different options. MMA has opted to double gas after the command center, so he will be taking up the factory very soon. A choice that a lot of players make. I think it's the smarter choice to make when you go for a one-rack expand. Some people try to go double barracks afterwards, try to get stim and combat shields up very quickly, or sometimes potentially one or the other, but getting the factory up as quickly as we see from MMA is going to allow him to deal with the Banshee pressure that is certainly coming out from Keen now. He does have the tech lab going up on his factory. It's possible he gets blue flames, switches the reactors out some blue flames, but I highly doubt that's what we're going to see. In fact, the barracks, the factory is already being moved. The barracks not producing right now. I believe he's going to make a command center with 400 minerals before going out with his Banshee.
I think he will not do that. He will probably get Cloak first and the Banshee and then transition out of it, but it would delay just his Cloak timing too much. Is he really going to do it? It looks like it.
He's getting Banshee and the command center identically. Okay, yeah, I think he's going to skip Cloak.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And just go into siege mode as quickly as he can afterwards.
He got the second gas though, but now he's getting rid of his minerals once again. He's about to hit 200 gas, but this is not going to be a Cloak build. Maybe a little bit delayed, but for now the first Banshee will arrive at the main base of MMA without Cloak. So he's not investing too much gas into this tech. And, well, MMA, on the other hand, is now running another SCV across the map, scouting a little bit. He's also just building his starport, and there's the Cloak fake for Keen.
Yeah, fake Cloak, indeed. He knows this is the scan timing his opponent will likely throw in here. He's researching that Caduceus reactor. Meanwhile, Keen has made a second tech lab on his factory. This is very indicative of mech play, as is this Raven. If you have two tech labs, it means he's making the Raven and is going to start siege tank production, which he is in fact doing here. So Keen will be going for mech play here. He is producing Marines still out of that reactor barracks, but that's not going to last much longer. He will be going up to 3 or 4 factories in the main. The scan does not see any energy being researched. He actually canceled it already to get the Raven out, so the fake was not effective there. MMA already in position to defend this. He's actually making a Viking right now, so he's not going to really take too much damage from this. Nice micro with his Marines as well. And remember, as I mentioned earlier, Keen cannot really hide the Banshee back here. Got to be careful.
Yeah, he has to be very careful here. He's losing one SCV, maybe even the second one with the Banshee. Well, the Viking is out now, and the Banshee is going to die. So there's just no chance for him to do too much damage. Was not really worth it without the Cloak. Well, the Banshee only, he's going for mech, he's getting the Raven, so he has the tech lab anyways at the starport, and therefore it was okay.
Could have been better, but yeah, not the best trade for him. The siege mode is on the way for MMA, by the way, a little bit ahead of Keen. That means that Keen is not going to have any aggressive timings, although with mech, you're usually not the aggressor, usually the defender, until you get your third base up. Then you can potentially be aggressive, sometimes with Blue Flame, other times with lots of different compositions of units. It looks like Keen is going to move out, though, early here. Because MMA has that faster siege mode, though, he should be completely fine against this. He even has the Viking out first. Yeah, with point defense drone, he can change things up a little bit in that fight, but I don't see this push doing too much for Keen. I think he's just basically trying to punish his opponent's earlier expand, but it will not work.
Trying to do some damage here. Of course, he also has the energy on, or will have the energy on the Raven in order to get 1 point defense drawn. But now just taking control of the Zelaga Watchtower at his opponent's base and trying to get a little bit of a contain going. We have 44 against 38 SCVs. MMA a little bit ahead in economy. A slightly higher army supply for Keen, who's now moving out, trying to take a quick look at the third base and getting into position at the rocks, but the scan goes off. And MMA has no vision of the rocks. He does not really know what's happening. He should send a unit over here.
This is really nice positioning from Keen. He's able to circumvent his opponent's position. He scanned at first, saw where the siege tanks were. Now he's got the air control, and he's able to siege at these gases, so he can deny his opponent's gas mining here. He scans to gain vision of these siege tanks. He will take one out, but he's going to take some hits as a result. The Raven getting a bit ahead of himself.
Gets taken down, and this is pretty bad, but the siege tank survives with 3 HP.
A very even trade, but Keen is still heading towards that better composition. Now he's got a third command center going up. He's got double factories being added as well, Caldor here. And if Keen does not punish him, stop him from getting that third base up and stop that factory production, Keen is just going to get further and further ahead. He's going to get more and more siege tanks. He's getting blue flame right now, and his composition is just on the up and up right now.
MMA, on the other hand, trying to establish a third base as well. He's going for the bio play with the tank support, and we have Combat Shield finishing. He has a bit more flexibility here. Can try to drop at some point and just get into a better composition. His RB is a lot more mobile, as long as he does not only rely on the tanks. Yeah, Keen is actually a player who is really good when it comes down to his positioning, to get into a good position where he can force engagements and force his opponent into a bad attack position. This is too much.
Yeah, this is a bad choice by Keen. He saw this and decided not to retreat. Once he saw that scan on top of his army, he should have moved back. Yeah. Because that's the moment where MMA is going to be like, oh, I can break this. It was a good position from the start. He does lose one siege tank. The siege tank count now 6-2 in MMA's favor, in the favor of the player who's not meching. That's how cost efficient he's been able to engage against Keen. He's now 20 supply up here. He's moving into a position now where he can start sieging at some of these production facilities. And since he killed the Raven from earlier, he's also going to have the air control.
Keen built his additional factories very late. He was not really able to get rid of all his excess minerals that he had. And of course the gas as well was still missing. He needs 3 base, he needs 6 gas. And now we have a bit of a fight going on over here. The missile turret is not also effective. 1 Viking dies. And now is he able to take this one out as well? He certainly looks like it. And there's Slayer's MMA suddenly just losing the vision on the high ground, using his scans to get into a position where he can at least put some pressure on the production buildings.
Yeah, it was a little bit sloppy how MMA moved up here, but Keen still took some pretty decent damage as a result. He does stop the air control, and as a result will push this back, at least initially. And remember, he's got that third command center up. He's not mining at a third base location just yet. He's trying to position his siege tanks to push MMA back at this point. MMA, though, has a strong second force that may actually run into the natural.
MMA is already getting a 4th base now. Getting another command center. And, well, he's waiting for Stim. Stim is about to finish. It's not going to take too long for him to complete the upgrade. 125 supply against 145, and still those tanks posturing outside of the expansion of Keen. He still has the tank lead. Yep. 8-5.
A very, very good lead indeed. He was able to just trade so well after that first engagement, picked off the tank in the center, and that's allowed him to bully his opponent here. Even though he's gone purely marine tank at this point, and his opponent has a lot of blue flame Hellions, he just cannot close the distance because there are too many siege tanks. He's starting to destroy those rocks. He really desperately wants to have that third mining base. Meanwhile, the third mining base of MMA will be denied by Marines.
Actually, he's flying another command center to the left side of the map, so this is basically the 4th that he built, and at this point he can also transfer SCVs over. He has a really decent work account with 70, and he's going to saturate 3 bases, calling down the mules as well.
Yeah,
so
with this contain,
pretty interesting.
He can't really punish that base either. He's got a small group of Marines out, but they're not in the correct location.
He does not know about it.
Yeah, he doesn't know. Idea. He's clueless. He's so stuck in his base, he can't do anything here.
He expects MMA to expand to the right, to the top right, where you usually see the 3rd base, but this is something that MMA apparently anticipated. Maybe he saw the Marines, and he just makes sure that he's not sending the orbital over to this position just yet. A lot of Blue Flame Hellions. The Marines have to be very, very careful here. If they engage at the wrong time, the Blue Flame Hellions might be able to take all of them out immediately.
Keen has almost evened up the siege tank supply, but MMA is making double tanks now as well, so he will never be able to close the distance. It looks like he's going to try to break out here, pushing down these siege tanks at his third base. Now he's going to be able to secure the third command center, but little does he know it's a little bit later than his opponents.
Indeed it is. He's 10 supply behind at this point, and of course the upgrades for MMA pretty good as well. He already got the first armor upgrade for his bio unit. I think he got the attack upgrade as well, but I actually don't know. Can you check?
Yeah. I tried to click on those. Yeah, he's got 1-1. And we're going to actually have an engagement that's decent for Keen. Keen's actually going to trade really well here. These Bioforces are not really able to get to the SCV line, and most of them are being taken out as well as the majority of the medevacs as well. But meanwhile, a command center gets taken out. He just blindly sent it on top of Marines.
And this is definitely going to die. The Marines take it down. And at the bottom left, Keen is still struggling a little bit. He was able to take down a lot of bio units, but lost a ton of his aliens as well. And now we have Keen just trying to get the +1 attack upgrade, more tanks, double tank production, Vikings, the count, the better Viking count, just making sure that it's dominating the air battle. He's getting now medivacs as well, so a really nice game between these two players. But MMA, he's slightly ahead at this point.
Yeah, MMA tried to go clean up that Marine squad that was at the top right, but he just barely missed it, so it remains alive. It's kind of an interesting quirk in this battle. Usually players use their Marines, they die early on.
Oh, this drop to the right side of the map
could be really, really effective. There's nothing at home. There are a few turrets, but they're not in position. He barely sneaks around the side.
Will be there in time? I don't think so. No, they won't. They are on the way, but they're a little bit too late, and now the SCVs die, and he will probably lose a lot of these supply depots as well. Here come the Hellions and the medivacs.
Yeah, the medevacs do get taken out by the Vikings, and the Hellions attempting to clean house here, but against the heavily upgraded Marines, they're not trading as cost efficiently. Now, MMA seizes his chance, moves forward into the third base, and Keen looks like he may be all but spent here. I mean, he has lost so many units. MMA just continues to rally across the map. Keen in so much trouble at this point.
He used his SCV as a buffer in order to tank the siege tank damage, but it was just not enough. He loses way too much here. He's already 40 supply behind. He lost 32 SCVs in total, and now his worker count is down to 41 against 70. 3 bases for MMA, getting another command center, and this is looking very grim for the MVP player.
It is. He does lose his Marine squad at the top right, which did manage to force another cancel on a command center, but now that they're gone, nothing is stopping MMA from taking that top right base. His siege tank count is so much higher than his opponents right now. At 13 to 10, it's actually not as much, not as high as I thought it would be, but even so, he's just able to engage so well at every turn. He has the bio forces to back these siege tanks up, whereas Keen, yeah, he's got 11 siege tanks, but he only has 4 medevacs and 2 Vikings to back that up. Or I'm like actually reading all the wrong numbers right now. Yeah, actually, that's Keen's units. I wonder what these medevacs are actually for, why he made so many of them with no bio units to support them.
Oh, the siege tanks get taken out. Here comes Layers MMA moving up the ramp. Yep. He's heading up and he's going for it, taking down the last remaining siege tank for Keen, and he's just getting into a better position by the second. This is looking so great. There are no units left on the map for Keen anymore. He's just struggling here, trying to make something happen in order to push MMA back, but MMA is still containing him and is just in a dominant position. GG by Keen. There's no way to come back from this.
Great positioning there by MMA, definitely playing the much better game. A very cost-efficient defense, holding the Banshee, then holding the siege tank push afterwards, his faster siege mode. From there, he didn't have any problems. He had nothing to worry about, in fact. So, great play. Keen's build was good, but he just was so far behind from the beginning. There's a huge argument in Korea right now, is mech better than Marine tank? Most people say no. Most people are doing the exact build that we saw from MMA. They're just purely Marine tank. And some people like Keen are trying to do this mech style, and if you get behind with mech, that very mobile Marine tank force will just beat you every time.
Keen definitely struggling a little bit. He banked a lot on his opening and it did not do any damage at all. Neither did the Banshee that he started with. So this was definitely not his map, where the next one is going to be Metropolis. Just both of these players having a quick talk with their coaches, talking about the next map and the next match. And Keen has to be careful here. MMA is once again in good shape. He was able to defeat Alive at Iron Squid, and he proves again that he's just... he just belongs into Code S, and I really would like to see Keen in Code S, and he tried so hard for a long time now, and I would I would be happy to see him in Code S, but MMA, I can't picture him just dropping out here.
I cannot either. I mean, either one of these players will have the potential to still be in Code S, but to see MMA struggling in Code A and then having to go through the up and down match ordeal is just not something I would expect either. But Keen, he looked strong in this first game. His choice to push was just something that did not work out for him because his opponent had siege mode first, and the way he engaged it was a little bit wrong. He lost his Raven as well, and it was a tough position for him from there. But the song that we're listening to right now is actually pretty sick, but it's getting crazier and crazier as time goes on. The song that's in our headsets, man, I can hear that, and I love this music. By the way, there's a thread on Team Liquid of all the GOMTV songs.
Yep.
I definitely recommend checking it out if you're curious about the songs that are getting played.
It's on GOMTV.net as well in the forum, and they always
It's called Tracks, I believe TRAX, so check that out. And here we go, match 2 on Metropolis. I think if Keen does the same build here and just plays it a little bit more refined, he can stop the style of MMA, but who knows if MMA will even go Marine Tank again here. Slayer's players have shown they have the proclivity to go mech, they have the proclivity to use Hellion drops really well. They're a little bit less predictable, perhaps, even than Keen.
I would love to see close air positions here. This is just so nice where you have a Terran versus Terran match. It's a lot more aggressive than cross position. So it will come down to the position, what kind of strategies they play in the long run here. And the game starts. Ladies and gentlemen, we're heading into the second game of Keen against MMA here at the GSL Code A with Holland.